Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hello, welcome to But Am I Wrong? Question mark? Really wanted to get that inflection in there so you all knew that this was a question we've posed to you, our audience, to each other, to ourselves. It's a very deep podcast.
So deep. I am Melissa Diamond Mont, and today I'm being joined by Penny Proud.
Girl, I'll take it.
watching-
She's not Dorinda for the first time ever.
If you're watching the video on Patreon, Meghan is doing her best Penny Proud cosplay.
I love that. Thank you. I'll take that any day. Any fucking day. Except I'm looking for my sugar mama.
I was just waiting. As soon as you got on screen earlier, I thought it, and then I had to Google to make sure that I was correct, and then I was holding it in.
Oh, look at you! Knew the timing, waited perfectly. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking for a while, and you pulled it out so quick. Who would have known that it didn't just come off right at the top of your head in that moment? No, you've been sitting on it. It's a luxury. It's an incredible talent. I do not possess that talent.
I was holding it back real. But we were also having a serious conversation, so that helped.
Speaking of all this, you look like Penny Proud. Okay, cool. Not really the time, but yeah, sick. Love that. Love that. Well, I love it now. So thank you. So yeah, join the Patreon. And then watch the Proud Family. We can't sing it. They'll come for us, and I don't want to be on the bad side of any of those vocalists.
Like that woman that was on Kelly's bad side at Cannes. Did you see that?
Oh, Melissa, I saw it so fast. People are like, I need to know the story. I go, I actually don't need to know anything. I'm on her side. Like,
yeah,
the way that she is, that woman did something foul.
Yes. And I don't know if you saw the post interview with Kelly and someone, first I want to apologize to the listeners. If you're hearing a saw, maybe Coco was able to cut it out, but if you're hearing a saw, my neighbor is doing some yard work. And so
Or if it's
That's what's
translating to what's in my ears, which sounds more like a cowbell, that is the same sound. It's just, that's what it sounds like on my end. But I guess it's a saw.
So Kelly was asked about it in an interview, and she said it happened. That woman knows what she did, and she looks like she's like damn near tears. Like Kelly is upset.
Oh.
And she said there were other women that were not being pushed away or shoot off the carpet like I was, and those other women didn't look like me. And history with Can has been deeply racist, so not surprised at all. I knew what was happening before. Like the woman was just pushing her. Kelly was trying to pose. She even went up on the stairs trying to pose. People were calling her name. She was trying to take pictures, and that woman was like pushing her and then stepped on her dress
and then was getting in the shot so she couldn't do any. And I'm like, oh my God. It was like when I saw someone on Reddit being like, oh gosh, how will I ever know whose side I am on? A black woman or a white woman from France?
Right.
It was like, yeah.
And we don't see Kelly get upset. Like it's
no. And like people was it the Today Show that tried to like paint her that like the dressing room or whatever? And it was like afterwards she was like, no, I'm here for my own thing. And all they wanted to do was like ask me about like, I think it was specifically they wanted to ask something Beyonce and then something else that was not like a fun kind, like something that it was just like, no, that's like, we're keeping this separate. Like, no, I don't want to tie that like in, like, she's my sister. Like, she's like get out. Like, that's family to me. You cannot like try and use this in a way that like, she's not going to appreciate that. And I don't appreciate that. And then they tried to paint it like that. So if there's one thing she will do is be so fucking honest and like clear it up so well that like and like the lip readers and like you could even tell that she kept saying like, do not talk to me like that, you are not my mother. And I was like, oh, she said something foul. Foul. So I'm always on her side. She also looked fucking gorgeous, and I go, the fact that you ruined that behind the behind over the shoulder shot, you should go to jail for that, man.
Yes, 100%. Goodbye,
au revoir. Anyways, how did we get there?
I called you Penny Proud.
Penny
then
Proud.
we were talking about the singers of the Proud Family song.
Facts. Also, my name's Megan, by the way, Megan Rinks. But you can call me Penny Proud this entire episode, everybody. I will take it.
Because she is cute and proud, and she's got it going on.
And I fucking love that show. I told you that Mott's had never seen it, and I was shocked because I was like, you would love it.
I still haven't seen a full episode. I've probably heard it because our family back in the aughts and late 90s, you had family computer rooms. So before people had laptops all for themselves. So our family computer was also like the way our downstairs was set up. That was like the kid area. So the family computer was there, and then the TV was like on the opposite. So I would hear it behind me. So that's how I know I'm Penny Proud, I'm cute, and I'm loud, because they played that commercial all the time. So I've heard enough of it.
It's so fucking good. I literally started watching clips of it, and I was like, we should watch a whole fucking episode. And Mott's is like, this is great. And I was like, I know. And he's like, this is a kid's show. And I was like, I know. This is why this is one that parents were like, I can watch this. Like, this is, I can hang with it. But yeah, so this podcast is where we pass judgment on other people, similarly to that woman in France, the woman from Cannes. So yeah, we've got 3 different segments, and we will explain each of them before we get into it. But the most important thing that you need to remember is that this is not just us. We would like you to actively participate. So beyond just sending in suggested topics and things you want us to talk about and cover, we also have a Friday episode called Fisting Friday. If you're new here and you're like, holy shit, why would you name it that? Just keep listening and you'll understand our personalities more. And you'll understand that we did it as a joke and couldn't think of anything else. And it was stuck in our heads, and therefore we had to commit to it.
And stuck other places.
Exactly. And we put the segments and all of the topics and everything we've talked about on each respective episode over on our Instagram stories. And then you, the listener or watcher, if you're on Patreon, you can vote on who you think was wrong in each situation. And then on that Friday episode, we read the results from the prior week. And we also read all of your messages and your insight to why you voted the way you did, your thoughts and feelings. Sometimes we have updates from people who we've talked to or talked about on this. Also, again, the Patreon. You can support the show, watch a video version. You can see our reactions, which, dare I say, are priceless. And you can also join our live streams and hang out.
We have such a blast in our live streams. You get to know us on a deeply personal level, and we all just like to chill. Not just us, but like you get to be part of our community on a different level.
Yeah. And I know that everyone says they have the best community. We have the best one. Like, without a doubt, like, you will be welcomed with such open arms, like to the point where you will be invited, and some might even say accosted, to join a group chat, like, and like become friends with everybody. People like video chat each other who are like in the group like every single day. Like, people have become like such good friends, and always recommend to people who are like moving from a new city, or you're just going through like a transition period, or, you know, immunocompromised and you cannot be as social as you would like to be. That's where I get all of my social interaction. And everybody's lovely because we do a wonderful vetting process. So just know that like there's no bad vibes. They're out quickly.
All right. Should we get into our first segment?
Yes.
Our first segment is called But Am I Wrong? And that's when we pick things from our personal lives or observations where we may be wrong or have thoughts that could be wrong about that first situation. So this week, Megan, you're up first.
Okay. I actually have a personal one for the first time in so long.
Can't
And
wait.
it really falls under the hot take that I have where I'm a big proponent of like double standards. But I think really what mine is I think there should be absolutely no funny business in the bathroom. I have such things. She's going to have no idea where I'm going with this. Okay, so, and I want us to start by saying I love mops with my whole heart. And this man did not mean to do this by any means, but this is why we pick the bear. Like, this is why I'm like, men are just dumb. I'm getting out of the shower yesterday, and like I had like worked my ass off doing a bunch of like outdoor work, and I'd already done like YouTube editing, all this stuff. So like I was like depleted. Then I went outside and did all this work. So then I was even more depleted. And I was like, I have to fucking take a body shower though. I wanted to wash my hair. I couldn't, but I was like, I have to. And so I'm showering at like midnight. I get out of the shower and we don't have a shower fan. Our house is fucking old.
I don't have one either. So I keep the door open.
Yeah.
I know.
Keep the doors and the windows open. And we've got like mesh screen. We got privacy screens and all of that. I get out of the shower. I'm naked and I'm drying off. And I just see through the window, just a set of eyes staring at me. I burst into tears. And Mats goes, sorry, I was trying to think of something like funny to say that like wouldn't be scary. And I was like, I'm going to kill you. And I'm sobbing. And he like runs inside. He's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, like with love, no, like he's like, I just want to make sure. I was like, so here's the thing. If you can't figure out what to say that's not going to be scary, maybe we just don't do it at all. But especially we don't just stand there silently. So I think that like, oh my God, there's a fucking peeper who's staring at me as I am naked getting out of the shower. And I was like,
what day was this on?
Last night.
After the other incident that happened? Absolutely not.
Melisa.
You know what I'm talking about, that we cannot speak of. Yeah, no.
Melisa, and take in mind, I had worked my heart to the bone. Like, yes. I was so, and like showering already is on. So like, one of my most realistic and rational fear is slipping in a wet bathroom. Like any like traumatic brain injuries from falling in the bathroom.
As I've done it.
Oh yeah, and I've slipped and fallen. I've like cut my leg and all that stuff, but I'm always so fucking afraid of that. And so my hot take is we let bathrooms be a place of peace. Like you shower in peace, and I'm gonna go as far as to say like don't fuck in the shower. Don't make bathroom a sexy. Use that for your pooping, your peeing, and your showering. And this is not a place for funny business whatsoever. So he knows he was in the wrong.
Why was he outside? Like he planned this?
No, so he was like finishing up some work stuff, and he was like, oh, while you shower, I'll go do that. And I was like, okay, cool. And he like saw that I was getting out of the shower just as he was walking by. And so like sometimes if I'm in the bathroom, like washing my hands as he's walking by, I'll be like, oh my God, hey, like I can see you or whatever. And so that was like his thought process to be like, oh, but like the timing was just like, well, now I'm lingering. And he like couldn't think of anything to say, which is also just so much worse.
Yes.
And so it's through the mesh fucking screen, and I'm like, and I'm just crying. He's like, hi, sorry, I couldn't think of what to say that wasn't scary.
And
I
just
go,
come
how about
inside.
nothing? Just come inside. Like your silent beady eyes is not less scary. So yeah, I know. And like you said, especially after the instance that happened, I was like, this is horrifying. So keep the bathroom funny business free. Even if you had something funny to say that wasn't scary, just don't do it.
Okay, here's the thing. I agree with you about that. I don't agree about shower sex.
I think only if you have a stool or something
That's what I was
there.
about to
There you
say.
go.
Something
Yeah.
has to be sturdy in there, or you can either start in the shower or finish
Oh yeah.
outside the shower. But like, it shouldn't be a complete act in the shower unless it's just head.
Oh my God, but your knees, you need a mat.
Get a towel. They're
A mat. Yeah.
available.
Something that's in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think, no. I just
Yeah, no.
No. And like, it was one of those things, like I could see the instant regret on his face. It was like that one time, I don't even know if I ever talked about this one before, but it was like one time that like I was like bending over or something, and he like went to like, he didn't know I was like getting up, and he's giving me a pat on the back, but I leaned back as soon as he did it, and it knocked all the wind out of me, and I almost threw up. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I just didn't realize, I don't know why I did that. I was just trying to give you a pat on the back, but it was like me sitting, going up fast. So like the brain was just hit so much harder.
Yikes.
And I was like, why would you do that? So he knows he was in the wrong, but keep funny business out of that room. Stop.
Well, mine's along the same lines of like, why do men? I ordered my groceries to be delivered.
As she does.
As I do. And I usually, unfortunately, it's usually always men that are doing my groceries, which
Illegal.
it has mostly been fine until it wasn't. And it was 2 weeks ago, this man, instead of like, he got yogurt and he didn't tell me that they were out of like the flavor that I wanted for like, it was just like 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have gotten 2 of the flavor I wanted and then just gotten 2 of another flavor and just been like, hey, they're out of this one. You can get this one. No, just does it. And I was like, I was annoyed by that. He was like, they're out of, was getting some protein bars, and it was like they had a special in 24 pack. And he's like, they're out of the 24 pack, so I'm not going to get any. And I said, but do they have the 12 packs there? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, can you just get 2 of those? And he's like, oh, okay. Let's just do things. Even if you just got 1 of them, it would have been fine. Like, the items were there, it just wasn't in the quantity of the flavor that was available. But then last week I had the worst of them all. This man kept telling me that they were out of items, and it just became so consistent. And I was like, this isn't correct. They can't be out of these. All
this
of
man's
this
at
stuff.
Staples trying to buy you a persimmon.
So I was like, can you send me a picture of the shelf once we got to item 4? He takes a picture of the shelf. And now they have the option where you can just circle right in the app. And I said,
because they know men are incompetent.
this is the exact item that I want right here, right there. And I know you can see the same picture that I'm seeing, and that's the same thing. We get down. It's like every item we're having to do this. And then he's like, they're out of gluten-free. No, they're out of the bread you want. And so he sends me like 5 pictures of just individual breads instead of the shelf, because it's kind of harder to see for bread.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it has to be gluten-free. Do they not have any gluten-free bread? And he's like, there's no gluten-free bread. I said, there's not just like a section for gluten-free bread. And he goes, no. I said, can you ask somebody, please? So he does. And what he does is he takes a picture of the woman that he is asking.
Oh my God. Assault. Get her off of your camera, sir. Oh my
He
God.
takes a picture of her, I guess, to prove that he asked her.
Sharon.
And it's the exact bread I want. He gets it. So if you look in the app, there's a picture of things and it said replace with, and it's the exact item that I wanted, because he was marking everything as being unavailable and then replacing it, quote unquote, with the exact item that I asked for. I said, not only did I already go grocery shopping, but I had to go again. And I'm sitting here circling things on a shelf. Then he was like, it was when I was getting my stuff to make the pickle stuff. And he was like, they're out of ham. I said, they're out of ham in the whole grocery store. There's not just one ham there. And he said, yeah. So then I said, can you go to the deli counter and just take a picture of the case? There's like 14 different hams there.
Well, this is a Friday too. And they get shipments on Thursday.
Yes.
So they can't be out.
But like ham, even if it wasn't on the deli counter, they would have it in like the other section where it's not the freshly cut ham. And I just circled the whole thing. I said, all of this is ham.
This is ham. This is ham. This is ham. This is ham.
Pick one.
Oh my God.
So men should not be shoppers. I understand everybody needs to have a job, and you know what, I was shopping in DoorDash. And you know what else DoorDash has? Where you just go pick up food. So that can be, if you cannot do groceries, be the guy that goes to pick up food, because all you have to do is pick up a bag and walk out.
I think when we have men weaponized and competencing their own job that they have opted in for, that's how I know as a society, like, we need to bring back, I don't know if it's the guillotine, but we need something because
to
you can't keep getting
them.
away with this, because
Right.
like, it's not all men, but like the fact that like you're a man who this is a woman's job, like this is a weaponized incompetence thing, and then you're asking to be paid for that.
Mhm.
No. Actually,
Yes.
no. Like, you're going to actually have to do your job. And just because you think, like, oh, I got a woman, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Well, I did it bad, so you have to do it for yourself later. It's like,
It's not even, my name is not even my actual name. It's a man's name in the app, because I don't want them to know that they're delivering to a woman. So they thought they were delivering to a man.
I genuinely think that every time I've had a man Instacart shopper, the way that they've gotten me, I've like specifically requested like gluten-free chicken nuggets. And they go, didn't even contact me, just replace it with regular chicken nuggets. Even though the one that I sent as a replacement, I always go in and say this one or like another gluten-free one or none. And they'll just replace. One time I wanted a bushel. I said like, it was like a pack or something of 2 packs of like the 6 bananas each.
Yep.
And they're like, they don't have the pack. So they just got me 2 bananas. And I was like, counting. Do we think maybe numbers that we could just bring that in here? So yeah, I'm all for like malicious compliance when it comes to your career. You cannot do weaponized incompetence at your career.
No.
That's embarrassing too. Have to circle the image. It's like when someone's like, I can't find my something in the fridge. And it's like, let me go look. And it's like, it's right here in front of your face. So
taking a picture of the employee that worked there.
Someone give her some money for her time and suffering. Like, first of all, she's at work. Do you know how many men probably go up to her saying, I can't find it. I need help. And she's like, okay. And then he goes, I have to take a picture. Have you ever seen, there's this SNL skit that's called, oh my God, I don't remember. But it's Selena Gomez. She's the guest. And the whole joke is, it's a parody of like, oh, like you've seen that TV show about like toddlers doing things on their own. It's like a toddler's first outing. Well, we brought it to America and it's about long-term boyfriends. And so she's like sending him to the store and he has a backpack, and my favorite thing about SNL is Kenan Thompson only opts into the sketches that, you know, he personally finds funny. So like he's there as a toddler, but like, again, a fully grown adult. And they've got like flags on their backpacks and they're like, I'm going to the store. She said I have to get shallots. What are shallots? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And like, he like goes to the store and gets everything wrong. And she comes home and she's like, oh, good job, sweetie. And like the store worker at Sephora is like, honey, do you need some help? And I'm like, all of these women having to help this man. And then this man takes a photo of her. Horrible.
Yeah, I haven't seen that SNL skit, but
it's funny. You'd enjoy it. It's really funny.
I was going to watch the one this past week with Jake Gyllenhaal only because I thought we were going to get the Ego playing.
I know.
And she didn't. And then she's on her TikTok. I don't know if you've seen her TikTok videos where she's doing different readings of it because she's mad. Like,
well, I saw it on Twitter. I didn't see. I see her talk about it on Twitter. I didn't see the TikTok. I have to look that.
So she's doing different readings of it in different, like, this is how I would have done it dramatically, or this is how I would have done it in this way. So I'm mad too. Because I was truly about to watch it, but then I was like, no one is saying anything about it, so it must not happen. And then when I saw that she said that she didn't get to do it, I was like, no sense to me watching because I don't want to see this, man. I can watch Sabrina Carpenter. I can just watch her musical performance.
I watched musical performance about 10 times. She's so good. What a little pop star. I'm obsessed with our slutty little pop star era. Like, I'm obsessed with just us all getting up on stage. And I really think like we have so many people to thank for that. We have Beyonce to thank for like the sexy talk. Then we get into the dirty talk, and we really have Meg to thank for a lot of that. And then it bleeds into every kind of music. And now finally, we almost have every pop girl on stage saying the word pussy. And I'm like, I'm fucking loving it.
That's why I told you. She makes horny music, and that's what I want to hear.
Exactly. Stay horny, everybody. Shall we take a break while you guys get yourself done? Sorry. In that Bridgerton mindset.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the magical millennial.
And I'm the dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
We're back.
Yeah, I hope that was good for you all. So now for our next segment, it's called But Are You Wrong? And this is where we read your submissions. You send into butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. They are under 300 words, and you let us know the circumstance or situation you've caught yourself in where you want to know if you are the hero or the villain. And we, as the kind folks that we are, we will tell you. So please include your age, all relevant information. It is all anonymous. So if you're going to come up with fake names, pseudonyms, we would appreciate that. We don't do well when you give people initials or numbers. And don't feel like you need to pick them based on pop culture. But if you do, please make sure it is relevant. Otherwise, we will have to infer that there's incest going on. Or if you say Legolas, I'm going to have to assume one of you is an elf with a gorgeous wig. I would love to know the backstory of that wig, because it has to be synthetic, but I'm having a hard time seeing it move like a synthetic wig. So I'll deep dive. First up, Hi, Megan and Melissa. I, 20 she, her, and my best friend, 22 she, her, recently had some difficulties. I noticed a lot of toxic behavior in our friendship, her not liking me, having other friends, etc. Besides this, we were so close, and she really has been there with me for so much. We worked together in a close environment and used to spend every weekend at each other's houses. I even had a bed in her house. However, since I started noticing this behavior, I began to back away slightly. About 2 months ago, I'd finally had enough. I confronted her about how she was hurting me with the comments she made and how she behaved sometimes, as she often held double standards. She was completely defensive and refused to take any accountability. Following this, I cut her off other than being polite in work settings. All of my family and other friends think it's 100% for the best. I did too, but recently I've started to miss the time we spent together. Most of my other friends live far away, uni, or aren't as available. I do a lot with my boyfriend, but in terms of female friendships, I feel a bit lonely. I'm very independent, but I feel like I can't always be alone. I also feel like my childhood has made me continually choose toxic relationships/friendships. My question is, how do I get out of a cycle of toxic relationships and friendships? And how do I make new friends? Because this really scares me. I cannot afford therapy. Ooh, have I been there? Yes, I have. Unfortunately, it's a canon event. And I think you're experiencing two canon events at the same time, which is a toxic friendship and a transition period where you're in a relationship, you're in your mid-20s, or it doesn't even be any age, but you're in a relationship and you don't have a lot of friends. Like, you're just kind of experiencing them like all at the same time, which is like unfortunate, but that's unfortunately, again, a canon event. So, I mean, you said, like, how do I get out of toxic relationships and friendships? Is your relationship toxic? Because otherwise, I think to focus on the friendship part, you get out of that by cutting out every toxic friend that you have and starting over. And so you might have friends that you don't even realize you're not as close to because you haven't been able to get as close to them because you've had very toxic friends kind of taking up space or time. And like, I'm someone who's like, I've gone through that. And then like each friendship I would make afterwards would be like a slightly less toxic. But until like I cut out like the through line, who was like the most toxic person in my life, I then was no longer accepting that behavior from anyone. So like, if you're letting it slide from one person, if you have to, like if it's someone who you're financially dependent on or whatever, and by that I mean a parent, I don't mean a partner, then that is like, you bide your time until you can totally sever that relationship. But it's really just like unlearning all of it, like in that. And so like, I don't think you're wrong whatsoever for cutting her off. I also don't think you're wrong for missing her. You know what I mean? Like, I think like that's a totally natural thing. As for making new friends, oh, I wish I knew. I am definitely need friends. But I think that like, not to be all like cheesy and like give you very don't blame me advice, but one of my favorite books, Perks of Being a Wallflower, has the quote that everyone has heard on Tumblr and everywhere. It's like, you accept the love that you think you deserve. But I think it's just like, we accept whatever we think we deserve. And even if we're not conscious of it. So like, we accept whatever we've been given. And like, you notice that like, oh, this is definitely tied to like childhood and all of that. And it has to get to a point where it's like, you're not seeking anything from other people, because I think that's when like friendships can actually shine. Like, I'm not looking to get anything out of this friendship because like, I'm not lacking anything. Like, I'm a totally whole person on my own. Like, I'm wonderful. I'm great. And so like, anyone, any friendship, any relationship just adds to my life. It's not like, well, this person has all these great qualities that I really need and that like I depend on, and they have these bad ones. Like, it should only be positive, only should be good. But it's also okay to not have friends for a period of time.
Yeah, I went through this with a friend who we spent so much time together, and, you know, like I would stay over her house on the couch and she would stay over my house and things like that, where we, you know, had shared spaces when we were hanging out. But then I realized that like, she also was very jealous of me having other friends. And it just got to the point where it seemed like she was obsessed with me. And I was like, this isn't healthy and this is weird. And if I want to hang out with somebody else on a Saturday, like she expected me to get like permission from her to hang out with these other people. And I just like, I cut her off cold turkey. I'm that person that can just leave something, but like, I would miss her. Like, I legit would like miss like that person that you like, something happens. That's the first person that you talk to, or like just having that default person that's always there for you. But it got too weird. And eventually, like, she came back and asked, like, what happened? I told her, and she acted like none of those things happened. And I was just like, bitch, it did. And even if, like, from my perspective, these are my feelings, you should honor and respect that. And if you don't, that shows just how toxic this friendship was. And so, I just had to move on, and I met new people. Like, you meet new people. I would say don't become friends with people that you work with in this type of way where you can't get away from them. So try to make friends, like we've given this advice a lot, like join clubs of things that you're interested in. And that can be like just like a jump off a starting point for how to make friends.
Yeah. And you said that she didn't like when you hung out with your other friends. Like, reach out to them. Like, if I had a friend who reached out who, like, I hadn't seen in a while, had blown me off, and they're like, hey, I just got out of a friendship that, like, really made it hard for me to have other friends. And, like, I just wanted to, like, apologize because, like, I really would love to. I would have no ill will to that. Like, I would be like, oh my gosh, of course. So I think that's, like, a great thing to do in that circumstance and situation. But if you need a break from having friends until you know that, like, you're not going to pick toxic people, and just do things differently. Like, you said, do not be friends with someone like this that you work with in that capacity. But, like, if it's reminding you of your other friendship, it's like, okay, I'm going to do everything opposite. Like, I'm not going to, like, sleep over every night. Like, we're not going to do this, like, all of it. Like, let's just, like, intentionally do this differently and seek out people who don't remind me of these other people. So I have so much faith in you. We're all going through it.
Yeah, that's a growing experience, unfortunately. All right, next one.
Yeesh.
I already got a little sneak of this one, and I'm going to tell you I'm so against it to begin with. Here we go. Pickles don't belong on chicken sandwiches. I don't like pickles. I am a pickle hater. I'm like Jessie Smiles when Lily tricked her and Miriam, I think it's supposed to be tricked her and Miriam into eating a deep fried pickle. Delicious. This person says disgusting. A fellow Patreon member, hey girl, hey, who I talked about this with, who does love pickles, agrees, saying the juice keeps sogging up the bread. It makes the chicken taste weird and ruins the mood. I know y'all are pickle lovers, but they don't belong on a chicken sandwich. Perhaps a jalapeno.
Those are not the same.
They're not the same thing. And they do belong on a sandwich, on a chicken sandwich. They also, if you're having like a fried chicken sandwich, then the chicken should be brined in the pickle juice. I hard disagree with this. You are wrong, and I will fight you on this. And I think I could win.
Okay.
Don't bring a hockey stick.
I was going to say, I don't know about that last part. I don't know that you could win.
I could win. I've been getting real strong lately.
I was going to say, because for me, it's about scrappiness and tenacity more. But you are two people who I think if it was to fight to the death in 6-inch stilettos, you'd both still be standing.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, that's sheer power that like I will actually never know.
My love of pickles is stronger than their hatred of pickles. And I think I'd be driven more. And I think you can have both pickles and jalapenos on.
Dare I say you should?
Dare I say, let me get a chicken. This was if I take a dairy pill. Let me get a chicken sandwich with pickles and pepper jack cheese that has jalapenos in it. Perfect chicken sandwich.
See, I'm going to pick pepperoncinis over jalapenos.
I'll do all three.
Cheese, I have a hard time with.
Well, you can't eat cheese.
No, I know. But like mentally, I have a hard time with cheese and meat a lot of the time. I
do for most things too, but I do like it if it's melted on a chicken sandwich.
Yeah. I can have it melted on like a burger, and I can't do meat and I can't do seafood and dairy. That one's like really bad for me.
Who's
like people like
seafood?
Shrimp linguine and stuff. Like I think that's
okay.
I think butter. Well, first of all, we're not counting butter as dairy because everyone always asks me, you can still eat butter though. And I'm like, no, it's dairy. So if everyone else is going to be like, I didn't know it was dairy, I'm going to pretend butter's not dairy. Cause like, I think you should be able to use butter for whatever. But when you do like a cheesy Alfredo with like clams, that's so out.
I thought you meant people were just like melting cheese on top of like shrimp.
I bet they do.
Melting cheese on top of a piece of lobster.
That is criminal.
Yes.
That's like genuinely so offensive. Not to my culture, but we need to figure out whose culture that is. And they need to come say, that's actually offensive. You can't do that.
Yeah. So square up. We're throwing hands.
That's a threat.
Just don't bring a hockey stick and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So square up, knuckle up. It's about to go down. And when we're done fighting, you're going to eat a pickle. And I know you wrote that in just because you wanted to fight.
Yeah, I will say. I will give them that they instigated this.
Mm-hmm. But I appreciate it.
That's how we know they listen. So, shall we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Hey everyone, join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
Each week, we deliver 4 fun-filled shows.
In Don't Blame Me, we tackle our listeners' dilemmas with hilariously honest advice.
Then we have But Am I Wrong, which is for the listeners that didn't take our advice. Plus, we share our hot takes on current events.
Then tune in to See You Next Tuesday for our listener poll results from But Am I Wrong?
And finally, wrap up your week with Fisting Friday, where we catch up and talk all things pop culture.
Listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
Bitches on Comics is a bi-monthly interview podcast where we talk to the coolest LGBTQ plus folks and women in comics and pop culture.
Our unique perspectives and welcoming nature have earned us the honor of being named a Best Comic Book Podcast by Book Riot, Screen Rant, The Mary Sue, Comic Book Herald, and Comic Book Couples Counseling.
Bitches on Comics is hosted by moi, Monica Estrella Negra, filmmaker, writer, and co-founder of Audrey's Revenge Film.
And me, Essie Fleenor, comic and pop culture nerd and culture critic with writing in The Independent, Vice, Electric Literature, Star Trek, and so much more.
We're also both voting members of Gallica, the Society of LGBTQ plus Entertainment Critics.
Join Bitches on Comics for in-depth, hilarious, and heartfelt conversations with the likes of Stephanie Williams, Leah Anderson, and the late, great Rachel Pollack.
Listen to Bitches on Comics on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or tune in at bitchesoncomics.com. New episodes every other Wednesday.
And we're back. It is time for our final segment, But Are They Wrong?, where we nominate a person, place, or thing in the public zeitgeist, pop culture that we think needs to be publicly shamed. Sometimes it's niche. Sometimes it's on the tip of everybody's tongue. And I would like to nominate North Carolina. So if anyone is, I feel like this has kind of gone weirdly under the radar for like the everyday person. And I like Mats is like my barometer for that. Like I'll ask him about things if he's seen them, because you and I, there are very few things we're on the opposite sides of the internet on, like where something is like totally unbeknownst to the other. But he and I, like, there's lots of stuff he doesn't know about. And I asked him if he had heard about this and he hadn't. So if anyone did not know that North Carolina had proposed a bill called the Unmasking Mobs and Criminals Bill, which would repeal language for anti-masking state law that exempts wearing a mask for the purpose of public safety, public health, and medical reasons. So to decode that, it would make wearing a mask as an immunocompromised person or as someone just not wanting to spread any sort of germs, let alone COVID, bird flu, whatever, it would make that illegal. We would just take out that exemption that was put in here during the early stages of the pandemic. So the way that they're phrasing this bill is like people who are committing crimes with masks on needs to be illegal. That's already illegal. It's already a thing. The reason that they're trying to basically unamend the bill that was amended during the pandemic of being like, no, we're not going to make face coverings illegal. So for this, they would also be asking for enacting harsher sentences for people convicted of crimes while wearing a mask. But again, if you're wearing a stereotypical burglar mask, that's already a part of it. This is you'd be committing a crime while wearing an N95, a KN95. And what crimes would those people be committing wearing those masks? I wonder if it would be protesting genocide.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would be. So to read a little bit from the government website. So, overview, the proposed committee substitute, blah, 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 would do the following. Repeal the health, this is like legitimately what it says. Repeal the health and safety exemption from certain laws prohibiting wearing of masks in public. Enhance the criminal punishment of if a defendant wears a mask to conceal the defendant's identity during the commission of another crime. Prevent the executive branch or local governments from distinguishing between religious institution and other entities during an emergency. Impose criminal and civil liability individuals who obstruct emergency vehicles during demonstrations. So that last one really lets you know what this is about. But it would also encompass religious wear, hijabs, anything that covers your face, mouth, and head in any sort of way. And thankfully, but also kind of the same, not thankfully, they need a full Republican vote for this. And a few of the broken clocks have been right once a day and did not vote for it. So as of now, it's not gone. They are currently following Wednesday's vote, a conference committee is now comprised of members of the House and Senate. They're reaching a compromise on this. And I started doing a deep dive on Reddit and just online about because everyone has when people find out about this, it's kind of oh, well, whatever. Because first of all, that violates so many human rights. It violates disability laws, the ADA. It also, which is not the American Dental Association. When I learned that from that other one, I was like, damn, same one. It also violates religious law, the sense of freedom of religion and being able to practice whatever. So it's such an overreach, such a huge fucking overreach that it feels pointless. And in some ways it kind of is, but part of that is the fact that in doing all of this, it is making a huge broad stroke to then kind of desensitize us from shit like this, then doing something that is oh, look, we compromised and we did something equally as horrible, but slightly more legal. And so it just becomes you do this thing that's so fucking big that's not going to pass. And then you make it slightly less bad. And so we're watering it down. But someone else had also said they passed bills wanting to see legal challenges. It's all in the plan. My theory is it's to generate legal fee income for their donor and law firm buddies. It's crazy how much the government is about embezzling money to your friends, families, and donors with project and waste. I have no doubt you're right about this. Good way to steal public funds. Someone else had said, all these people allow it to happen. If politicians knew people would pull out of Liberty boxes, soap, ballot, jury ammo each time they pulled this crap, it wouldn't happen as often. Basically becoming desensitized to these things where it feels so outlandish and ridiculous that we don't worry about it and we don't waste any time on it. And therefore we become desensitized to it. And someone said, this is exactly what Ron DeSantis has been doing. Guess who his biggest donors will be the next time he runs for Senate. And someone else said, this is how you get ADA struck down by the courts. You create a law that runs afoul of the ADA that isn't about disability. Someone challenges the law and loses in court. That way you get rid of or at least weaken the ADA without suffering the political consequences of voting against it. So it's all this horrible fucking planned out sort of thing. And to look at this of being oh, this is ridiculous. It's never going to happen. Whatever. I'm not going to kind of think twice about it, but thinking about the actual implications. So ultimately, no matter what, it's going to end up being harmful, whether they whatever they change it to, because you should be able to protest and also be protected. You should be able to do all of those things. It's not they're respecting masks anyway. When people are protesting, they're ripping them off on camera and doing all of that. And it's also reminds me of the movie A Cinderella Story, where she has this little mask on and Chad Michael Murray's oh my God, who is this mysterious girl? What the fuck do you mean you cannot identify these people? What do you mean you cannot identify these people? Because it's not really about that. It's about government surveillance, but it is also just leading to more profiling. And it's making it let's make the window bigger so we can have more of an excuse to profile people. So it's hey, I saw a black man running down the street wearing a mask who committed a crime. Okay, so now we're going to a already targeted group by police, and now we're going to a twice targeted group. We've got someone wearing a mask who we're going to assume in this case that they're saying, even for people who are disabled, say a disabled black man who is now getting tackled on the street because someone else said that's who they saw commit a crime. So it is, again, like the branding of like how do we identify the woke mob? Well, they wear masks and now we have a target on their backs. And what white people also say, all minorities already look the same. So now we're just adding into like, now we can only see half of their face. Okay, cool. That's going to go really well. So suddenly people are like going to be attacked on the street for this, as well as people then being discouraged from even wanting to wear masks because they're afraid of that. And the people who should be, everyone should be wearing a mask in general, but specifically people who are in low income areas or in areas or who are people who are not being serviced well by medical professionals, being even more vigilant about their health are going to have to be like, do I want to wear my mask and put a target on my back even more that's already there? Or do I want to not to try and protect my life? So then you have to be like, okay, so now we're talking about individual life versus the greater good. It's just such a fucking mess. And all of it is hilarious because at the end of the day, this is the party for small government. And finally, I think part of the real reason, my hot take, why they were like, we have to do some amendments to this, because they realized that unfortunately this would also apply to the Proud Boys. And it would also apply to members who are still withstanding within the KKK. And at this point, if you want to ban something that you think indicates that somebody is a part of a dangerous organization, ban wraparound sunglasses. Because I have never seen someone wearing a pair of wraparound sunglasses who didn't have a receding hairline and a Proud Boy sticker. Those are the real threats to America.
Yeah, that's infuriating. I did hear about this and I knew exactly what it was and why they were doing it, and fuck them. All right, here's mine. It is disturbing. So if you don't want to hear it, tune out and thank you for listening. This week I'm nominating William Mitchell Keene and Jolie King. So Keene, K-E-N. So William was in a grocery store, H-E-B. He was walking around, stalking children, and then indecently exposing himself to them. He was arrested, and as the investigators were looking through his phone, they found pictures of his wife in sexual acts with their Great Dane dog. And so they've both been arrested. And there was also child pornography on his phone as well. They've both been arrested. I think she was a nurse as well. And their Great Dane has been taken to animal services. And of course, this has disturbed the community and is just disgusting. And I'm just going to keep it short because there's not much more to say on these two disgusting people, but I hope they rot in hell.
I hope worse. I can't even imagine there's any sort of jail cell, any sort of protection you could put them in that would, they're dead on arrival. Like already, if you hurt children, that does not take, I actually am not sure about the norms of what happens when you fuck a dog, how I'm unfamiliar that one is not covered as much as inappropriate interactions with children. But I have to assume, based on how people love their animals in a platonic and non-sexual way, that she's also a goner.
Yeah, I would think so as well. So, ugh.
What's their name?
His name is William Mitchell Keene, and her name is Jolie Keene.
And the Keene is spelled how?
K-E-E-N.
Well, God, I fucking hope this is the same one I had heard about. I really fucking hope so. And I'm actually not going to look into it because I'm choosing that it's the same people. It's not happened twice. So, and now I'm siding with animal people, and I'm going to say, yes, some people do not deserve dogs. Like some people
A lot of people don't deserve dogs.
No, I was going to say, this phrase they say is we don't deserve dogs. Those people do not deserve dogs or animals or being near patients or being near children or fucking anything. They deserve only the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Horrible. Well, ending on a slightly positive note of broken clocks being right twice a day, I feel like I just want to give a small shout out to Scarlett Johansson for every couple years she comes through with saying, I'm going to use these white women tears.
Yeah, I forgot.
And I'm going to
I was like,
sue
where are we going
with them.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to use these white woman tears litigiously. And for that, I say, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
She is suing OpenAI, ChatGPT, for literally using her voice after they already asked her to voice it. She said no. They asked a second time. She still said no. Then they went ahead and used a carbon copy. He's also said I think he even said his dream girl or his celebrity crush, whatever, is Scarlett Johansson from her. And I'm like, you want to fuck a computer? Okay, keep that to yourself. And they're like, oh my God, it's actually just a crazy coincidence. Her name's Sky, Scarlett, Sky. Okay.
But he
Similarities.
also tweeted out that when someone said that it sounded like her, he just put her with a little question mark, like trying to be cheeky. Also, there's this guy that I didn't follow him, but his videos would pop up on TikTok all the time because as I've said before, I use a version of AI as a joke to write our descriptions just for See You Next Tuesday. But other than that, I don't fuck with AI.
Well, and it's pulling from our existing material. It's not pulling from anyone else's.
Our actual things. So it makes that's funny. It's just us.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy he had this little, I guess there's this device you can get that just has Chat GPT built into it, or OpenAI, whatever it is. Again, but he would ask it questions, and his whole bit on TikTok was trying to get it to say that it was Scarlett Johansson. And so he would get close, and then it would back out because he's like, I know this is Scarlett Johansson. And this is actually how I found out about the suit, was because he was like, I'm stopping doing this now because since it really is her. And he's like, this is messed up. And then he gave he talked about how he tried to meet up with her and make a joke with actual Scarlett Johansson about how it sounded so much about his voice. And that was going to be the last video. And he's like, it was the conversation never took off. And he was like, now I know it's because she was doing this lawsuit. So
yeah, he started the video being like, so I think I might have done this. Sorry, I don't know. It got, I mean, honestly, she should thank him for making it so viral to the point where not only they have it in writing that they asked her to do it multiple times. So already you have that. You have him basically talking about
the day before it went live. They had it where they had asked her one more time, and actually her team didn't even get back to them about that last time, and they just went ahead and did it
because they already had made it. They had already done this. They'd already assumed she was gonna say yes, and so they already went through with all of this. And then she had friends and family and people being like, "Is this you?" And then you have a guy on the internet who doesn't know her personally saying this is definitely her, and you have thousands upon thousands of comments being like, "This is without a doubt her." It's an open and shut fucking case, and again, this happens every couple of years where she takes on a lawsuit that I go, actually, thank you. Yeah. And then I don't need to hear anything else for a while.
No.
I can hear about...
I think I've heard from her twice this year when I was like, good, now go away.
Twice?
The other one was where she was on SNL. Remember when they did the, what's it called, when the State of the Union? Oh my
God. No, you're right. Yes.
Yeah. And they did the rebuttal with that woman that was in the kitchen giving the rebuttal, and then she did the impression of it, and I was like, that's all I need.
Yeah, and the last I heard of her, which is again is in my yearly rotation, is the joke swap for the season finale of SNL with Michael Che. And have you watched this one?
No, I haven't.
Melisa.
This is the one with Jake Gyllenhaal in it, right?
No, I know, but it's the joke swap with.
Okay, it's just for Weekend Update.
Yes, it is the most diabolical one they have done yet, to the point where so how Colin sets his up, the first jokes he's doing, I'm like, this is just kind of very intense. It's just those things are Mats is laughing more than me because he's a man. And I'm just like, okay, this is kind of, but then it's not personal, not necessarily super personal to Michael Che, just making him say kind of ridiculous things. But it was done in a way, I'm like, he was setting it up to let his guard down to say this final one. And then what Michael Che is making Colin do is so fucking I know that he sits on that for years. This is what he's built to do. He's not built to talk about the WNBA. He is built to make Colin Jost so fucking uncomfortable, to the point where I almost thought that I thought both of them were going to say, I'm not going to read it. And I do think Michael is mad at Colin. I don't think it was all in good fun. And when you see what he made him say, Michael Che immediately afterwards, and this is something they don't do afterwards, he was like, no. Basically being like, no.
Tapping out.
And you're going to die when you see, because he was fine saying the other stuff, but that one is where he drew the line. Like, I kind of want to watch you film yourself when you watch it, because I want to see your reaction.
Okay.
And that's it for our episode.
That's it.
We hope you all enjoyed. Please participate by voting in the votes that we put up on our Instagram. Who knows when they'll go up? Hopefully sooner rather than later. And then tomorrow you can listen to the results from last week. As always, you can tag us on things on Instagram or DM us things that you would like us to talk about, hot takes or anything. And please submit your situations that you would like to know if you're in the wrong about to our email address, butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. And we'll circle back.
Bye.
But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.
I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestall.
We're the Ghost Story Guys.
And every 2 weeks, we explore first-person stories of encounters with the paranormal from all around the world.
Then we have some fun reacting to those stories. We like to say our goal is to scare the hell out of you, then make you laugh.
Belief in the paranormal is not required. All you need is a love of great storytelling and curiosity about the world around you.
Subscribe to the Ghost Story Guys now on your favorite podcatcher to hear episodes like High Strangeness in Chicago, The Mystery of Missing Time, and The Haunting of Vietnam, along with dozens of others.
We've talked about mythical bridges, doppelgangers, haunted seaside towns, and so much more.
Remember that story about the guy who was trapped inside a dream and something was hunting him? That was upsetting.
Yes it was.
Want us to help ruin your sleep? Come find the Ghost Story Guys on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts live, or at ghoststoryguys.com.